What if I told you that you could start a reselling business without buying one piece of clothing? Well, it's true, and it's called Consignment, and this video is going to break down on how you can start your own reselling business without spending a single penny up front. No going out to charity shops and spending hundreds of stock that potentially won't sell. No getting up early and spending hours at car boot sales trudging through other people's wares. For some of us, that is the joy of reselling, but for a lot of people, they just don't have the time, and also building that knowledge. You don't want to be making expensive mistakes buying stock that potentially won't sell. So if you're looking to make some extra money and you want to try your hand at reselling without that risk, without the financial risk and the risk of the stock not shifting, consignment might be a plausible option for you. So instead of the traditional reselling option where you go out and spend your own money investing in stock and then you wait for the return once it sells, with consignment you can offer to sell other people's clothing on their behalf, and then you do all of the listings, and once it sells you post the item for them and then split the profit. So everyone wins. You're not going out and spending on stock that potentially won't sell, and you only get the money once things sell without having to lose any investment in stock that potentially might sit on your death pile and not sell. It's helping other people and offering a service to people that don't have the time. They've already got piles of clothing ready for you to come and collect and sell on their behalf. They don't have the time. You're looking to get into reselling but not sure on what to buy or any of that. Then you've got a tailor-made option for you, and everybody wins. They get their stuff cleared out and they earn some money from it. You gain the knowledge and learn the processes of reselling and handling inventory and all of that good stuff without the upfront cost. So in this video, I'm going to explain what consignment is and how it works, why people are willing for you to take their clothes and resell them for a profit, and how you too can turn consignment into a profitable business or side hustle, whatever it is you're looking for. So stay tuned, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate a follow. I share lots of tips on reselling, and consignment is one of the ways in which I suggest for people that are new to reselling start building up their knowledge and business. Hello lovely, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Maisie. This is Curve Reselling, and today we're going to break through consignment. I've had lots of messages recently from people that have seen my previous videos on consignment, and now that I've got the YouTube channel, I wanted to come on and do more of a sit down chatty video on consignment. So if you're looking to get into consignment or you're just coming across the channel for the first time, then yeah, this will be a helpful video for you, and I'm more than happy to do extra videos breaking down and talking about my own experience with consignment if you feel like that would be useful. So yeah, let me know, and I'd love to know where you are in your journey, so please do share in the comments. I would love to follow along and support and help you wherever I can. I've done lots of videos over on TikTok and Instagram, and with it being the school holidays at the minute in the UK, everyone seems to be having a clear out. I've been going to lots of charity shops to pick up homewares and things, and they're just inundated with stock. Lots of people are having clear outs and they're being turned away from the charity shop, and this is where consignment can be a really handy way for people to get their items out of the house, clear that space in their own wardrobes, but also get a little bit of money back, which is a win-win really. So yeah, I'm gonna talk you through consignment, how to advertise, what it entails, how to set your stall, so to speak. So yeah, let's get into it. So what is consignment? Put really simply, it's when you are offering a service to sell items that someone no longer needs on their behalf. So they just don't have the time, the patience, the knowledge. They've had a clear out. They no longer, they're sick of seeing the items in their home. They just want to clear out. They want the space. But you are offering to deliver a service where you take the items, you photograph them, you list them, you post, you answer all of the questions people have about measurements, you handle the customer service and storing the item until it sells, any repairs potentially, any stain treatments, that kind of thing, same as you would if you were buying the stock from charity shops. And then once the item sells, you offer and agree a percentage. So it is commission based. So once an item sells, you have your part of the share, and then you pay the person you're doing the consignment for their share of the sale. So yeah, it's really easy to get into, and it is a really desirable way of starting a reselling business. And you can definitely build a whole reselling business just based on consignment. So if you just want to get things in for people and you don't have the time to source, you can save so much time by having consignment where people are clearing out their stuff and they've already done the work for you, putting bags together full of clothing. You could even do footwear, bags, children's toys, accessories. There are so many different areas you can do consignment in. So yeah, there are so many options for it, but it is a really great way to get some knowledge as well, because you're getting clothing from different people who have got different clothing styles, different brands they're picking up, they're different sizes. You know, you can build up so much knowledge from doing consignment, because if you're going out into a charity shop or a car boot or wherever you're sourcing stock from, you are buying through your own vision and tastes for clothing, and you can learn from other people's clothing. There's been so many times where I'm doing consignment and I'll look at something and I'll think, well, that's not going to sell, or I wouldn't have picked that up, or, you know, personally that isn't my style. But seeing how much it sells for and seeing the interest on Vinted, on eBay, wherever, is just so interesting and so valuable in terms of building that knowledge for your reselling business. So I definitely do recommend it, not just for the financial side of things, but the knowledge side of things is really valuable too, because like I said, you're picking up things that, you know, sometimes we do get into a habit as resellers of picking up the same thing, but with consignment, that guesswork is taken away and you've got whatever the customer passes on to you to sell. So yeah, with consignment, you process the stock, you keep the inventory, you photograph the items, you list them, you write the descriptions, the titles, all of that good stuff, and then you post the item and record the sale. I like to keep a spreadsheet when I've got consignment, so I will write down for each customer. I'll have a tab on a spreadsheet for that financial year from April to April, and then I will put in the tab the customer's name, and then they will have a spreadsheet with all of their items, and I have the formula on there to work out how much their share is and how much my share is. And I also take off 5p per sale for my postage bags, because obviously I'm using them, which is a really small amount. It's like 5p per bag, but it's still something to take into consideration. If you want to charge for your packaging materials too, then it's something that you should take into account. Maybe you're happy not to because, you know, you have bought them in bulk, but it is definitely something to consider. So why do people use a consignment service? You will be surprised at how many people will try their hand at Vinted and they just don't have the time. They think it's just a case of throwing something on a coat hanger and it'll sell, and it's not always the case. Vinted and eBay, with their algorithms, you do need to be using lots of keywords. You need to take effort into taking really nice photographs in bright light, and some people just don't have the time. After working a full day, they don't want to come home and sit photographing loads of stock to list, and yeah, they just don't see value in the clothes they have as well. Like most of us, when we're clearing out our own stuff, we just don't see its worth. But when you're passing that on to somebody else and they're looking at that stock with fresh eyes and taking their time to photograph it and really putting in the care to do really nice titles and descriptions, because reselling essentially is marketing items and making them look desirable and getting them sold and go into new homes. So yeah, you will be surprised how many people will look at their items and think, I just want rid. And that is where you can come in and build a business, and you can offer a rotation of consignment for people, and yeah, keep inventory for other people and keep tabs on what people are giving you, and you can keep their items for so many months. So the way that I do consignment is different to a lot of resellers. I will do consignment on a 3-month basis. I feel like it's really fair to split it into each quarter of the year, so to speak. And I will say to people, if things haven't sold after the 3 months, then you can either have the items back or we will donate them on your behalf to your chosen charity. So that is the way that I do it, because I don't want to become a storage unit for people's stuff. And I do have a really quick turnover with my own stock. And I know that there are some people that do consignment differently. They will keep hold of items until they sell. And respectfully, with some items, you could be waiting a long time for them to sell. But I think keeping a time frame in mind for you and the person you're doing consignment for really helps. And if you are stuck with things that aren't selling, then you've got a clear get out for things to be handed back or moved on. And then obviously you've got that space then to open up to other customers, because if you are holding on to the space for someone, then that means you can't offer consignment to other people, because you've got to take into account your own inventory space and how much you can take on at once. Yeah, I like to do it where I've got like boxes for people and I will put all of their stuff in one box. So yeah, you've really got to think of these things with consignment. And if you are starting out, that is one thing that I would advise, to be really upfront with people and offer a however month basis. Let's talk about percentage. Let's talk about the money side of things. A lot of people will offer 60-40% for consignment. Now, I personally offer 50-50. I feel like it's fair. I feel like it's more of an even split. They are trusting you with their items and selling them on their behalf, and they are also getting 50% for that trust, and you're also getting 50% for taking those items on and obviously doing all of the hard work, photographing, listing, dealing with questions. Is this still available? All the offers people send on Vinted. What are the measurements for the pit to pit? All of those kind of questions. So yeah, you're dealing with the customer service, and I feel like it's their items. So I feel like 50-50. A lot of people will do 60-40, with them having the 60% and the person who is given the clothes on consignment having a little bit of a lesser percentage, but still quite middle of the road, just because of the extra time that they are putting in to selling the items. There's no right or wrong way. It is whatever works for you. I personally have always had 50-50 and I've never had any comeback from that. And yeah, I feel like if you are offering 50-50, more people will be inclined to give you their clothes, especially if you're just starting out, because it does come across as more fair. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you're already doing consignment, I would love to know what you offer in terms of a commission too. But yeah, it is still, something to think of. I will also say that most places you don't have to pay postage for, but if you are using eBay, then you definitely need to be making sure that you are taking your postage fees out of the final sale price before you split as well, and make sure that you're not out of pocket at any point throughout the consignment. I will also say that in recent times I have been charging for doing repairs on items of clothing. It takes extra time to repair pockets, add buttons on, sew up any holes and things, and the materials for doing that. And if you're having to wash the items then, and stain treat and use all of those products, it does take up extra time and resources. So I have actually started saying to customers that if there are any repairs and things, then this will be taken out of the fee. I mean, I've only started adding on like a £2 fee here and there, but it does add up. I had one customer recently, she gave me a sea salt jacket. It was this gorgeous sea folly in a bright yellow, and it had a huge hole in the pocket and it was heavily stained. Luckily I managed to get the stains out and fix the pockets, and I did sell the jacket for a really decent price because it had been brought back to life, but it's not always the case. But yeah, it is something to bear in mind as well, that sometimes people don't give you things in the best conditions. Even if you do make these requests in advance, things can just, be slipped into the bag that, might have a few repairs. So it might be something that you choose to consider as well, and be upfront about that. If you do have to spend time repairing things, stain treating, then there are additional costs that will come out of the profits for that. So yeah, that is one piece of advice I would like to pass on, because it is something that I've only started doing in recent times. And yeah, if I could watch a video and get all of these things up front before I started doing it, I would have made myself a cup of tea, because I love watching these types of videos and I would have sat and absorbed it all. But yeah, this is my gift to you from my experience on doing consignment. So how do you get started with consignment? My biggest piece of advice to you, and something that I wish I'd have started doing sooner and been more confident with, tell your friends and family and everybody you know in your circle what you do. It is one of my biggest pieces of advice. I started doing social media, and people that I know found out when they found my TikToks, my Instagrams. A lot of people did not know until I started popping up on their feed that this is my business and this is what I do. I just didn't see the value in telling people, and I just didn't think people wanted to know. But you'll be surprised, like even weeks, months, years down the line after you telling people what you do, people will remember. And then once they're having a clear out, they'll offer you to take their stuff and sell it on their behalf, which, I'm so grateful for. And yeah, I really love doing consignment because I obviously have the knowledge of selling things, and taking that time and burden away from people is just such a lovely thing to do, and people are so grateful. I can't express this enough. If you're really thinking of doing consignment, people really do value it, and you are offering a valuable service. So definitely put yourself out there to your friends and family. Also, Facebook. I can't stress this enough. Join all of the local Facebook groups where you live and make yourself a Facebook post in all of these groups, sharing what you do, sharing what you're offering, and I guarantee people will reach out to you for you to sell their stuff for them. It is just so handy to have a ready-made social media where you can just go on wherever you live and just advertise. I made a little poster on Canva advertising what I do, and I share that in all of the Facebook groups, and I've got my own Facebook page now for people to come on and message and arrange consignment with me. So yeah, I definitely recommend Facebook for starting out. And yeah, if you want to use TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, promote yourself is my biggest piece of advice. But yeah, it is such a great thing to get into, and people really appreciate it. They want to clear their stuff out. Lots of charity shops are turning people away because they just don't have the space, and it gets things out of their house into your hands, and you can make some money from doing consignment, and you can make money for them too. So yeah, definitely recommend it. And speaking up for yourself and telling people what you do and shouting about it is definitely one of the best ways to get started. So you've reached out to friends and family, you've put your post on Facebook, you've worked out your percentage for commission, you've worked out the time frame that you want to advertise doing consignment for people, and if stuff doesn't sell, you'll hand back. The next thing you want to be clear about is what items you're prepared to accept. And this will look different for everyone. So I'm just going to share with you a few tips from my personal experience, but this is really something for you to consider. And I hope that listening to me talk about it and thinking about what you want your business to look like, you can start to think of what brands and things you're willing to accept. So for me personally, I am more than happy to sell most things. I have made a little info sheet on Canva which I share to people, which explains what consignment is and how my consignment process works. So I've put on there that I take people's items for 3 months. That is my time frame, how long I'm prepared to hold on to things after they've been listed. I also say that my percentage is 50-50 and payment will be made via bank transfer. I do collect people's information from a Google Docs form, which I send out to people on Facebook or wherever they contact me. And I have put on that form as well that I do not accept fast fashion brands such as Shein, ASOS, Boohoo, Pretty Little Thing, just because personally these brands just don't have a lot of value. And when you are selling things on consignment, once you're splitting things 50-50, there's really not a lot for you to split once you're splitting these types of brands. So I do really recommend that you are upfront with customers about what items and brands you're happy to sell. You might have an area that you specialise in. You might want to sell just Y2K stuff. You might want to sell kids clothing. You might want to sell, formal wear, anything, but be clear about what you are looking to sell and what you are prepared to take. I also ask for items to come, and I know it sounds like common sense, but to a lot of people it's not. But I do ask for items to be in clean condition, ready to photograph. I also ask that things aren't stained or they have holes in them, but you would be surprised. A lot of the time, people are bagging the clothes to go to charities, and you'll be really surprised. And I hate to share this disappointment, but I just want to give you guys the heads up. You will be surprised by the amount of clothing that is covered in like food stains, and you'll go to someone's house and you'll pick them up and they'll be so happy and smiley with you, and they'll give you all these bags and they'll be super excited, and you're gonna find something covered in food stains. Honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I always find stuff, and I've found face masks in pockets, tissues, cinema tickets, all sorts of things. So yeah, definitely have a heads up for that on me. And yeah, make sure that you are stressing to people that items need to be freshly laundered, clean, ready for you just to put on a coat hanger and get going, hitting the ground running, and yeah, getting the consignment started. So that is my advice. Also, let them know what happens if their items don't sell and make that really clear. Ask them, do they want the items back that haven't sold? Do they want them donated? And yeah, make sure that you are remaining professional and setting these boundaries for your business. And yeah, being really clear about how your consignment process works is one of the best ways that you can build that trust as well. And just be really honest and upfront with people on how you want the business to work and what they should expect, and hearing from them about, you know, what they're looking for their items in terms of sales and things is really handy too. A lot of people will know what they've paid for their items, but they won't know in terms of resale value what their items are worth. So being really transparent with people about how much you expect to get for items as well is such a valuable thing to do. Yeah, you'd be surprised what people think that some of their items can achieve, and it is nice to be positive and optimistic, but you know, as a reseller, you know what to do in terms of going and doing comps, looking on eBay, finding out what items have sold for in the past, and yeah, going from there. So yeah, be really transparent with people and communicate is another tip that I want to pass on. And I know it sounds really simple and you expect people to, you know, just know these things and be grateful, but I don't want you guys getting into any situations where you've got particular garments where people have got attached to them and they've got a certain price in mind for them. So I had one consignment customer that she had a wedding outfit from her son's wedding and she paid £300 for it, and it wasn't in the best condition, but she was expecting to get £200 for the outfit, and it just wasn't going to happen. And we had this conversation when I went to go and collect the items from her house, and you know, once I'd communicated to her that I didn't think that I would be able to achieve that price for her, she was like, that's fine, I'll try and sell this myself. And I think, yeah, situations like that, you have got to be professional, but also be really upfront with people that, you know, you're the reseller, you've got the knowledge, you know what the market is looking for, you know what the current sale prices are in the market, and yeah, you've got to be realistic with people because they're just thinking about the pound signs and they're thinking about what they've paid for the item and the retail value. And as we know as resellers, or if you're new to reselling, this is what you'll soon learn to know, that resale value and retail value, two completely different things. So yeah, that is one thing to bear in mind with consignment. So I'm gonna leave it here. I think I've pretty much summed up everything I wanted to cover in this video, this quick guide to consignment, and I really hope that it will start to lay the foundation for you creating your own consignment business. And if you've ever thought about doing consignment, it really is a brilliant business model, especially if you're looking to get into reselling and you don't want to be out spending hours looking for stock that potentially won't sell. And I can't stress this enough, it is so valuable in terms of knowledge, and you're not spending your own money up front to potentially make a loss. So it is really good for getting into reselling, figuring out if it's for you as well. A lot of people like the idea of reselling, but when it comes down to, you know, the processes of photographing and listing and storing and packing and dealing with the customer service, you might find that it isn't for you. And again, this is a really good way for you to test the waters to see if reselling is for you and if you enjoy it. And obviously once you're finding out what sells, you can go out and go to charity shops and car boots and spend your own money and invest in your own stock. But it is a really good way for you to get started. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. As always, if you have any questions on reselling or consignment, please be sure to reach out in the comments, socials, and I will be sure to respond. I love helping people get into reselling, and yeah, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But if you do put them in the comments, I might include them in another video. So I would really appreciate if you could make sure to add some in the comments for me, and please like the video if you've enjoyed and hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I will see you for more reselling content. And yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed and you've taken value from the video. And also, if you've got any consignment tips, be sure to leave them in the video for people that are watching this and that are new to consignment. So yeah, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!